everyone, and good evening. Welcome to the Dare to Ask show. Let me just start by asking, did you miss us? I'm sure you did, but for those of you that didn't miss us, we missed you. Whatever, we missed you. But thank you for tuning in. And yes, we've been away for some time due to circumstances beyond our control. But thank you for always being there to, support us and everything. So today, I'm not really sure what the weather has been like. It started off very okay, very summery. Then it went to a weather that we're not sure whether it's winter or summer or anything you want to think of. But it's been one of those days. It's been one of those days for myself. But I will introduce these two amazing people. These are very amazing people. I've been waiting for this guy here to be on my show. You know, when we have all these mics and cameras and everything happening to us, I'm really sorry, Michael, to reveal he's one of those that, does that. Apart from our God that we are trying, one day we'll put him on this chair. One day I would pull the strings and get him on this chair one of those days. But this is one of the people responsible for you guys seeing us every Tuesday or every other Tuesday. And this is Michael. Michael, say hi to everybody.
Hello.
Don't worry, he's not that shy. He's not that shy. I'm sure by the time he starts talking, he's one of those mischievous people. But if you're a very regular viewer, you would know this very pretty lady beside me.
Hi guys.
Hiya. So that is Praise. If you're a very first timer, this is Praise on the show, and obviously we've got Michael. And if you don't know me, I honestly don't know what you're doing, but I'll just let you know, just to refresh your memory. I'm Chidima, and once again, welcome to the Dare to Ask show. Before we continue, we want to wish one of our very, 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 very lovely hosts of Dare to Ask a very happy birthday. If you're a regular, you would know her. She is Victoria Alatoro. Vicky, happy birthday. I'm not that mean to say you should have been on the show today. It's your day, so have fun and do as you please, as long as you're good. So back to the show. Today we're looking at a very, very important topic, and we are going to be looking at accountability. So should we be accountable to people for our actions? I wish I could give my complete view. I would give my view to the best of, not in every aspect, but in various aspects. That's why I've got these two lovely people here to help me and to help you. And also I've got you guys out there to share your views. So for you to share this with your friends and families, and those of you who you are on, those people you are accountable for, those who are accountable to you, you can do that on facebook.com/RCCGJCC. That is facebook.com/RCCGJCC. It is a mouthful, but we are talking about accountability and you being accountable to others. Going straight to the point, I would need these two people to answer. Praise, I know they say ladies first, but since he's the only gentleman here, let's be nice. Michael, straight to the point. What do you think? Do you think that we should be accountable to people, with the way we live our lives?
Yes, we should be accountable to people, but I believe strongly that we should first be accountable to ourselves. You have to be accountable to yourself first, and then be accountable to people, because people are watching. People always see one or two things about you, and accountability majorly is like responsibility. So you can't only be responsible for yourself, you also be responsible for people. So yes, you have to be accountable for yourself first, and then you also have to be accountable to people.
Praise, what do you think?
He's literally said it all. I think being accountable is sort of part and parcel of having like human interactions and relationships with people, because your actions are at the very least witnessed by others, if not actually having an effect on other people. So you, in a sense, whether you like it or yes, you just are accountable to people, and you can choose to run away from that fact, or you can choose to acknowledge it. But also being accountable to yourself is important. At some point you have to take responsibility for your own life and where you are.
Okay. I did have a second question, but based on what you both have said, it's kind of answers the question. You know, I was going to ask, which places a higher priority? Personal accountability or public accountability?
It's definitely personal first, because it's what shines through you that actually comes out first. It can't be what the light that you give to other people. It has to be personal first. You make personal proper, and then I think the rest will add up to itself. But irrespective, there's sometimes that you should also try and make sure you are accountable for other people, especially in leadership. Especially in leadership, as a leader, you always have to do things not to bug you, but you have to go the extra mile for people that follow you, and that's also being accountable for other people. So it has to be you first. Sort yourself, and then every other thing follows.
Okay. I would ask a question, but that's praise. What would you say?
Literally, who you are behind closed doors is however much of a front you try and put up in front of other people that you're an amazing person or this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
If behind closed doors you're not accountable to yourself, and you don't, like, if you're not accountable to yourself, or you're a different person behind closed doors, at some point somebody is going to see who you are, because the mask only lasts for so long. And so it's really important. Like, self-accountability takes priority 100%, because it's only in being accountable to yourself that you can decide that, oh, I need to maybe have someone that I'm accountable to actively. And so, yeah, self-accountability.
Is of a higher priority. Okay. So basically, if we, yes, we've said we do have that responsibility, you know, personal accountability. Now, imagine you've got someone out there who does something wrong. Because now, as far as that person is concerned, they're accountable to you, right? One way or the other. You may not know. But do you think as Christians we should stay away from, you know, completely speaking to people as a result of their actions? So they've done something and you just feel, okay, there's that need to either chastise them or just, you know, what would you say as Christians?
As Christians, I think it is important to correct each other in love. But also there's a responsibility on the other person to also genuinely repent and not keep doing the same thing over and over again. If that person is then doing the same thing over and over again, and you've said it, you've told them in love, this isn't right, what you're doing isn't right, and they continue to do it, at a point one may have to distance themselves. And it's not a malicious disengagement, it's just okay, when you choose your behavior, you choose your consequences, and part of your consequences may be that I choose to distance myself from you, because you're not doing things you're not responding to the correction, and it's not helping me at this point in my own personal walk, or it's having an effect on me that is detrimental to me, or I just don't like this behavior and it's not something that falls within my principles and values.
Michael, are you countering that, or are you in support of that?
I'm in support, but I just think, like we said earlier, like, personal accountability comes first. I think if you try to chastise someone and you have a good light yourself, if the person sees good light coming from you, they
finish up. Finish up and I'll go straight into what I wanted to say. Yeah.
If the person sees good light coming from you, I think the person wants to listen, follow. But if you, like, for instance, if you're correcting someone about doing AB, and you yourself, we know you're not that straight and stuff, people will not want to follow you. So irrespective to you decide to leave the person or not, you've not done your own self well first. That's why you still have to be true yourself, because anything that happens, others will follow actually. Not in all cases. There are some people that are head dogs, they won't follow, but in most cases, others will follow you because they see something.
I was reason why I said, are you in support or do you counter what she said, was because I was hoping and praying that you would say something. Because reason why I thought of that question is because I personally don't really like, yes, to an extent, I could interfere in people's life. I'm not perfect, you get me. There are people that look up to me, but that, as the Bible says in Luke chapter 6, you've got to remove the log in your eye before you remove the speck in somebody else's eye. And that's why I was hoping that he would say that. He didn't use the Bible verse, but obviously he did say something in that line. What path are you walking in? Yes. But another thing we need to understand is I can come out here and place a front. I could just say, oh, everything you see about me is the holier than thou. Do you understand?
Then you're not accountable to your own self.
Yeah, but that's what you see. Do you get me? But when I go to Newcastle, I'm completely a different person. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So in as much as we're saying we need to be accountable to ourselves, with that personal accountability, I could be personally accountable to you guys here.
We can live in a completely
honestly, I can
life.
stay here and I'm like, whoop, this is me. And I go out there, and when I mean go out there, like go out, not Birmingham, not, Milton Keynes. I'm going Aberdeen, I'm going Edinburgh, because I know the chances of me seeing you guys there, I'm like, girl, what are you looking for? Like, that's a very long throw. So, but I like the fact that you brought that in, removing. He wants to say something to me. That's why I said this guy is not. He's not
as
quiet.
quiet.
Say, just speak up or forever hold your peace.
I just think, to be honest, I have lived two-faced life before.
Two-faced.
I call it two-faced because you can choose to be this today here in Coventry and in Birmingham be someone else.
Yeah.
But the truth is, the one that has greater power will surely come out in the other place, irrespective. So people will surely see the greater power. Like, you may have small good, more bad, and you may be showing the small good in Coventry and be showing the normal in Birmingham. The moment you get to Birmingham, people will, and you want to show the small good, people will surely see the big one. Sure, it may not be everyone, because some people may not want to, no one cares about your matter or something. But people that are sensitive, they will see that, no, this guy is a scam. No, because those traits we show. It's not like
it's more like there's nothing hidden under the sun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So no suntan can help. Take note. So, there was something. What's this guy's name? T.D. Jakes. He wrote something about their word is their bond in terms of accountability. So it's just more like someone saying something. It's more like me saying something to you. So whatever I say, you hold me accountable for it.
Yeah.
So that's what he was looking at. So so people tend to use people's words against them, which is I'm guilty of that. Like, I can be having a conversation with the mister and he would give 10 sentences and I'll pick one, because that's the one that I hold against him.
There's no guilt in
also,
that.
There's a point where that's a good thing, because I've been in discussions with people and they've said, anything that you tell me will never leave me. But I heard it with A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So I'm like, but sis, you're the one that told me. I didn't ask you to tell me. You told me that anything I confide in you on, it stays with you. So why am I hearing it from Bob, Billy, and Dylan?
Different people.
So it was just like, I think at some point, the words that people say, like, sometimes it is good to hold them to it. Obviously, in the sense of like an argument, picking out one thing out of like the totality, out of the paragraph, and responding only to that thing can sometimes be detrimental. But where someone has told you something and they've said, this is who I am, but their actions are not saying, this is who I am. Their actions are saying, I'm a completely different person. Sometimes it is good to call them on that thing, but also understand that the things that you say too are very liable to be held against you, because I think a lot of the time we judge ourselves by our motives and other people by their actions. So you have to be really careful to like not make excuses for ourselves that we wouldn't make for someone else.
So, something's just gone through my head, you know. I remember, like, give or take 10 years ago, there were so many clubs in Coventry, and I mean so many, like, on Fergusford you had this, you had that, so it was more like a zigzag. So one here, the next is there, there. So there were a lot of clubs. Would you say that because I want to please, you know, should I as a person be accountable to you because I'm going to club? As in, do you feel that, I don't know, how would I place it? You know, a lot of people just feel, because this is I live this kind of life, I shouldn't, please don't come talk to me about how to live my life. Do you get me? I'm going to the club, do not talk to me about that. How would I put it? Do you feel the need for people to actually come talk to you as to certain things that you do, that you yourself personally, you know, deep down within, you know, I like going to watch movies. If someone comes to you and says, look, you're spending a lot of money watching movies, or you're spending a lot of money buying so many MacBooks or softwares and all that, you know, do you think that anyone actually has that right to come talk to you about those kind of things?
Yeah, truly, yes.
They do?
Yeah.
Oh,
I still spoke to my mom recently about.
That's your mom.
Okay, people. Okay,
Yeah.
Yes, people are right, but now you shouldn't just get it wrong. The way you approach the matter is what matters.
Yeah.
If you blow it like sports seed, I'm not going to take it from you, of course. Or if you present it in a good manner, in a proper manner, then yes, we'll listen. And again, the content that you're bringing, you don't just come with any kind of content. You should be sure, and you should. You may not know my reasons, but you should give me a benefit of doubt first.
Because we do have a lot of very, 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 very judgmental people. Like, they'll come to you today and say, look, these nails that you've got, it's not good.
Pay for my short ones then.
Even with the short ones, you shouldn't fix the
Wow.
nails. So there are, honestly, there are those kind of people that will tell you that's wrong.
I think that there's fact and then there's opinion. Give me proof as to why it's wrong, then I'll hear you. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know I can give you proof
But
in my own perspective why it is wrong. But does that really in any way?
It depends on your proximity to me. For example, if, let's say, like, Billy Bob off the street that I don't know, like, we literally crossed paths once and he says, your nails are too long, mate, or you shouldn't be having fake nails, his opinion genuinely doesn't matter to me. If it's my mum that's telling me, I will listen to her, I will hear out her reasoning and see where she is coming from and her perspective. If it's something that I personally align with, and maybe it comes to, like, if it's something that I personally can align myself with and be like, okay, this makes a lot of sense, then I will look into it and I will consider changing how I'm doing. Let's say that I'm going out all the time and it's like, and it's not good for me as a person, and someone close to me is like, sis, you're actually doing too much, you're always out, like, you're not getting anything done, like, why are you even doing this, what's going on? At that point, this person is close to me, and provided, again, they say it in such a way where I know they're coming from a place of concern, obviously I would have to listen to that and be like, yeah, it might hurt being called out, but it's better than just continuing on a downward spiral that is eventually detrimental.
Yeah. Have you got anything to say?
Apart from the fact that the truth is, since I got understanding of this, I've been very watchful. Apostle Paul now was trying to explain something, all of Romans 14, and he was talking about judging people. And there was a part where he said he was begging. He's always begging. So, and then he was begging, and he was like, do not do things that will actually cause your brothers to fall or stumble. And Apostle Paul was trying to make us know that it's not only when the thing is wrong, even some things that to you is right, but to the person is wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I remember we talked about this recently, and someone was talking about tattoo actually, and then we will not go deep into that. And then, and then,
just a bit.
just
Let's
a
go.
bit.
Let's just go a bit.
and then I remember the question was, is it right or wrong? And to be honest, in all fairness, I've always been in the middle. I don't want to say if it's right or wrong, but I always stand on the fact that the reason why I will not get a tattoo for myself is because people actually look up to me, and the moment I do it, someone may say, Mike has done it. That means it's cool.
Yeah.
Then I should do it. Or someone may say, that guy has done it. That guy has messed up. How will he get a tattoo? This and this.
There are people that will look at you and say it's cool.
Yeah, and some people
I
will
think
say
this
it's
kind
cool.
of people, man.
But the moment Paul was trying to say, the moment you start seeing that someone is lost about something, you shouldn't even consider doing it. It may be right, it may be wrong. You may not be sure or something, but when you notice that this thing is tricky and it will lead another person to fall, you shouldn't consider doing it.
But do you know that there are certain things that people take the other way around?
That's just
What you're doing on a normal day to a sane person, shouldn't lead them to fall.
I think some people were gonna fall anyway.
They're looking for a reason.
excuse.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know,
So in that context now,
Then you shouldn't do it. But not to people that you. Apostle Paul was trying to say it in your gatherings as brothers, as family. If someone that doesn't know you falls on your behalf, it's not your business. It's not
that's
not the
their
person's behalf.
personal.
But the moment it is someone close, like in a church, like JCC now, like let me use Chisom for instance, because she's the youth leader, and then she does something that someone in the church doesn't have to be JCC, but because the person knows this is JCC youth president, why will she do this? She should not really do stuff like that. She should not give them a reason to say that. That was what he was trying to say. So it's kind of tricky because sometimes you want to judge yourself and you want to say, no, this thing that I did is not wrong, this and this and that. But the point is, you shouldn't even let there be that need for that argument.
I had reasons for wanting you on my show. I like the fact that you've mentioned that. Now, a certain sister of mine experienced something with some lady coming to her to talk about her dressing, right? And for me, someone like myself, I'm sure you know the sister, right? Yeah. For me, it was, this is me. When I'm dressing, right from when I've known what dressing is like, probably like SS2, like you've got to dress to look good. If you tell me where something that, as far as I am concerned, will make me look shabby, that's a no-no, right?
Yeah.
For me, that's a no-no. Anyone that turns around and says, you're the POP president, you need to be dressed like this, I'm going to tell you no. In that aspect, I will tell you I am not accountable to people with the way I dress.
Because you have POP president.
I need to dress shabby.
No, I'm not saying you need to dress shabby.
The thing is, I know your sense of style. I've seen your sense of style. There has not been anything that you've worn that I would say this isn't modest. So for me, where I'm concerned, I know I'm accountable to people in the way that I dress, based on maybe a role that I have within church or people that look up to me. But I also know that if I personally know that I am well within my role, I'm not even veering towards the edge, and somebody has a problem with it, I can't lie, Stairs, I haven't told, because it's like I'm not doing anything that is biblically incorrect. And out of everybody, there are people that it's almost like their job, because of like their roles within the church, to make sure that everybody who's doing a certain role is dressed appropriately because of what they do. Those people have not come to me. Somebody else is now coming to me. And I know that when I looked in the mirror this morning, I said, it is good. And I know that it was fine. No one else has said anything. One person is now,
We're actually saying the same thing. Let me really hit that thing.
It's the nail, please.
The thing is, you know the truth.
Yeah.
And you know, no, what I'm wearing is okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's modest, it's this, it's that, any language. But we all know that there are people in this world that their goal
It's just
and
to
their
fall.
mission is to just make sure they are looking for something to say against you.
Mhm.
If at that no, I know too, because if because you know the truth, you cannot be disturbed by them, because who you are supposed to show is people that truly follow you, not people that they're just waiting for your handbrake to drop or something.
No, but do you know that there are people who follow you, like, oh, this is the youth president. Using Chisom as example, this is the youth president. Now, the person has come for fellowship so many times. Chisom hasn't led, but the person just knows this is. Unfortunately for Chisom, every time the person has seen her is with her seated.
Mhm.
Now, one day, this person comes, praise, and myself and yourself, we've admired Chisom and we're like, whoa, you look good. Now, this person in your context sees her, and this person says, no, I'm looking up to this girl. She shouldn't be putting this on. In that case, using the Apostle Paul, has she made that person fall because this person is looking up to her? Because that person is now suddenly imagining things that people are strange.
Now that's onto her. She knows is what, there's no guilt in her. She's not feeling uncomfortable with what she's doing. That person just wants to have an issue with her.
Exactly.
It's
So that is where I'm now coming in. What if I'm seated and my mom comes to me and says everything she wants to say? Does that mean that what I'm doing, I've got to change that because this is my mother? Because you both made that statement of, oh, if somebody that I don't know comes to me and says boo, that's it. If I've got nails on and my mom comes to say something, I feel comfortable with it.
Then there's an extent to which you're responsible. You're accountable to other people, and there's an extent to which they are accountable to themselves as well.
Yeah.
So, for example, let's say that we use Chisom as an example. Let's say that in that scenario now, everything that she is wearing is decent. Most other people would look at her and say, what you're wearing is decent. Then that person who is saying that it's not decent has to really examine and assess within themselves. So what am I looking for? What am I looking at?
Another
What am I
question.
doing?
At that point, do Chisom have peace of mind?
Exactly. If she
has peace of mind, then there's no biggie.
That's
It's
it.
So,
just the person.
I like this. So it is all about peace of mind.
Yeah, it takes a lot on peace of mind.
And that peace of mind comes
But your
from knowing.
peace of mind must be true.
Exactly. It's not that,
It's
well,
not
I'm
that,
comfortable in
well,
this sin.
I am me. There's this thing that
Okay, yeah. What?
We do.
Okay, from both of you's perspective, what is your definition of peace of mind in this context? When you say you need to have peace of mind,
honors God.
Exactly.
honors God.
Yeah.
Okay.
If what you're about to do honors God, then you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, literally. If it falls within what honors God, literally. Because, for example, you can choose to wear something that you know is a little bit revealing, it's a little bit on the out there side of things, but you can choose to also have peace of mind about it. That's not what we're referring to. It's about knowing and having confidence in the fact that what you're doing falls in line with God's word and the will of God, and it honors God, and God will be satisfied with it. Do you know what I mean? If it falls within that, then you're already accountable to yourself. Anybody that wants to use you as an excuse to why they fell by themselves.
Yeah.
And that's not your burden to bear in that case.
I'm really sorry. Before I continue, I just need to thank all those who are watching. Thank you so very much. We're looking at the topic, should we be accountable to people for the way we live our lives? And these two amazing people, Michael and Praise, have said everything that we should take in. But I'm trying to look at it as that. They're the positives, and I'm probably the negative person. That I'm not negative, but I'm just trying to be that negative person. Yeah, Michael has probably a Bible verse that he wants to read to me, the negative person. Yes.
Okay, I quickly had to check Philippians 4:7.
Mm-hmm.
It says, "And the peace of God that surpasses all understanding
Understanding.
will guide your heart and your mind."
God bless you.
That's just the basic number one guideline to how you should approach things to this type of people.
All right. Okay. Peace of mind. Honors God. Now, you go to certain churches. There's a way you dress. They don't let you pass the back section. Right? They've come in with peace of mind. They've come in to praise God. Nothing, as far as they're concerned, they are comfortable. Now, in that case, are you trying to say that they're cool, they're okay, as long as they've got peace of mind, then it's okay? Then that means the church that is pushing them back is, not removing the log in their eyes.
I want to say
Oh,
two
God.
things.
Yeah.
The first thing I want to say is, I know people can see it as touchy, but it's not really. It's the fact that if you have peace of mind and you've settled your own part, if you step into any church, nobody's going to chase you back. That's one.
You sure?
That's why I know you say you sure, because
Alright.
we have examples of some places that they do it.
Yeah.
Now the second thing is, if you're going to that kind of fellowship or gathering, and this, I don't want to say is a law, or these are the doctrines, irrespective. I'm not saying if it's spiritual doctrines, but it's doctrines that guard that church. If you want to be in fellowship with them and with God, you just have to do what they ask.
What if you don't know the doctrine and you come in that first day?
Yeah, and they tell you, you can just, I don't know, maybe tell them, look, this is my first time or something. I find it sometimes ridiculous that I'm a first timer and then you chase me back and say, because I'm not wearing scarf. It doesn't happen to us as male so much. People don't really put all
What
those
do people wear?
funny. The only one I know is all this. I wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
And I
You're
know
putting on hats to church.
when you're coming to church, you don't do this. I wear my hat into the church, and then out of being part of the fellowship, I just have to
Take it off.
and do that. That's following the fellowship. You're not coming to the fellowship to be seen or be known or this. You're actually coming to honor, to worship God with them. You are being part of them to worship God. So in a good way, not funny way, good way, you have to just
Abide.
you have to abide, because let's be real, even when Moses had his own laws, irrespective, and then after Moses, Jesus didn't abolish all those laws.
Yeah.
He still allowed that the Pharisees, the scribes, and all these guys, he still allowed them to do theirs, but he kept on emphasizing on the truth to them that there was this particular Bible verse that Pastor read on Sunday. I can't really remember now, but he made reference to. Okay, irrespective. What I'm saying is, even though you are part of it, you should still be guided by the truth that you know, and you just have to follow their doctrine because you want to be in fellowship. If you know that it's going to cause a conflict between your peace of mind and their ways,
Then
it is not force that you must be a part of their fellowship.
Okay.
You can go back home.
I like the fact that I'm going in the other direction. Praise has something to say, then I'll counteract. Then
essentially, like at moments like that, you have a choice to make.
Yeah.
Literally, what Michael said, you have a choice to make. Am I going to just abide by this for next time, obviously, or is this the right place for me? If it's gonna cause you continuous resentment, every Sunday you're going to church, you're angry because you cannot wear this, that, and the third. Your whole wardrobe is cancelled. You've been wearing the same black skirt that sweeps the floor for 3 weeks now, and you're getting angry. Perhaps reconsider whether it's the right place for you, purely because you don't want to be going to church with everything else that you have going on, that you've come to seek deliverance or help for. You don't want the outfit that you're going to wear to be your next big issue. You sort of want to just come to church and just fellowship and meet with God. For those who are comfortable with that and it's like, oh, okay, that's how it goes. Okay, that's fine. I didn't know, and then that's fine. But for those who are like getting angry every Sunday, it's genuinely not by force. It's genuinely not by force. There are many more churches,
Okay, going negative again, right? Not negative. I'm just, I support them, but I want to think from the perspective of other people.
Yeah.
Right? So we've got someone who agrees. All right, no problem. I shouldn't dress this way. On Sunday is not a problem. Now, should that person still be accountable to you guys, being members of the church, with the way they dress outside the church? Or the way they act outside the church? Remember, you guys see yourselves on Sunday. Do you think this person should be accountable to you with the way they live their lives outside?
I would say, I'm going to bring a little bit of sociology into this. I believe it was Hoffman. He said he developed something called the dramaturgical approach. And essentially it's that in every situation that you find yourself in, you have a different mask. My thing is that all of the different facets of you should add up to one whole person. There should be no point about you that is completely contradictory to the other part of you. So, for example, if you're going to work, and let's say, just an arbitrary thing now, that women are not supposed to wear trousers in the house of God, that's fine. But on my, when I'm going to work, if you see me wearing a pantsuit, don't say anything to me about my pantsuit, because I'm wearing it because that's part of my work uniform, or that's what I need to wear to work. If you have a problem with it, you have a problem. Hold it.
Completely.
You know? And, like, for example, if I'm, like, where there's an issue is, let's say that I've said I'm really, really modest and I'm really, really this. And on Sunday, my skirt was here. Yeah. But on Thursday, you see my skirt and it's a belt. Then there's a problem. Because it's like, okay, you've gone out of the realms and the parameters of modesty now, and you're doing something completely different. Okay. Now you're completely opposite to what you were on Sunday morning.
Michael, do you have anything to say?
I think we grow as Christians, and Christianity is actually, we don't stop growing, keep growing. Firstly, if a church, it's difficult to judge churches, pastors, priests. I really always try to avoid judging, but we are still learning. Yeah,
you stay away from it. Yeah.
But the thing is, if a church, don't forget, it is a church, not the church. If a church says you can't wear trousers, ideally, me, I will ask why. Let me learn. Tell me why it is wrong. And if you cannot give me a concrete reason why it is wrong, I'm sorry. I cannot be part of the church. You are just a church to me. I want us to get together because we are growing together and we grow together as the church. And if there is a concrete reason why, I remember there was this one time I was told that, I won't mention the church or a church, anyone. I was told that if you want to be a part of the workers, I don't know if they do it here, I don't know, I'm just saying about one church, you cannot keep beards. and I just laughed and I'm like, well, I'm here with you, I will still keep my beards. and it doesn't stop my service. And the truth is, not being arrogant or something, I at some point I removed it. But the point I was trying to make is the service that I render is to God. I do a lot of things in church, like apart from even JCC. Before JCC, I do church. It doesn't affect, to be honest, it doesn't affect my life, doesn't affect who I am. Always willing, happy to do these things. So when he said, this is part of the rules, or you can't keep it, I'm like, do you want me to take my services away? I'm not doing this service to you, I'm doing it to God. Do you want me to take it? And the man was like, you just can't keep beards. And I said, okay. And I stayed in the church 2 months, still with beards. Then one day I just decided
Yes.
it's time to actually, because the fact that they gave me like 1 month, 2 months, just be. I had to
You
give
had to,
myself like,
yeah.
no, you too, it's time to
Behave.
give.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Behave.
and then I did. And then I remember when I left that city, I resumed back the beards and stuff.
It's more like,
And then
I'm safe.
another church did not talk about that. I remember the day I stepped into JCC, nobody said, don't keep it.
Your beard is very little.
Yes.
It's very
No,
little.
as in that one is even no beard, so like clean. And
Stop,
I remember,
take it off.
I remember when I saw Pastor, everybody has beards. I said, we thank God.
I'm home.
We can sit here. You
You'll be
stuff.
told to take it off.
Exactly.
But it's for me it's I just feel with time people get to to grow out of it. Accountability, yes, you're accountable to people for certain things, but it's just like me being accountable to people for the way I bring up my daughter.
Mm.
Do you understand?
Mm.
This is me, this is how I do my stuff. Don't interfere. Yes, the one thing I would say is, yes, she's not going to come out and be rude to everyone. But in terms of, oh, no, you should be giving her sweet twice a week. Really, I don't do my things that way. So I'm not accountable to you for that. If I come to church, usually, that's why most times when you see me in church and you say, where's Danielle? I'm like, nah, she's safe. Anybody that, if anybody turns and says, oh, I want to give her sweet, as long as I know the person, do it. Enjoy it while it lasts. But as soon as we step out, it stops. So I don't need to answer to you to tell me what it is. But that aside, we've got a comment here from Cam Riwaga. He says, and Somi, we see you. Minister Shayi, we see you as well. Cam, thank you. He says, hi guys, great show. Accountability goes beyond opinion and fact. If what your actions, motives or words allow people question where you stand as a Christian, then you should check yourself. Conversely, you need to spot the difference between advice and envy so that you don't fall prey to enemies of progress. I know someone that I wait for what the person does and not always what the person says. I didn't understand that. So and he says, do not reject counsel, but don't be controlled by it. I like that.
Balance.
Please note, accountability comes from within, and most importantly, should give glory to God. Now, Sami says, hello guys, good to see you. Good to see you, Sami. At the end of the day, we all just need to be open-minded, correctable, teachable, and lovable, but in the lens of God's words. We are all accountable to one another, and we should do everything from a standpoint of love, not judgment. Sometimes it may need to be done in private and not in public. God's wisdom prevails in every situation. Thank you so very much, Somi and Cam. Now there is I will go into this aspect because it is something that is happening all around. We've got a lot of celebrities that feel they need to live up to a certain standard because people are looking up to that. And most of them are doing it. Would you say they should do that? Let me not say that this is how they do it. Would you say celebrities, as they are, should live life to a certain standard because people are looking up to them?
I think celebrities are people too. They are actual people. They just have managed to, by their talent or sometimes lack thereof, or by other means, or their business savvy or something or other, have managed to amass a massive number of people who look at them. And they may think, yeah, I need to now have 4 Rolls Royce outside my 17-bedroom mansion, but there's only me and my husband in that mansion. We cannot possibly sleep in all of the rooms, but I still need to have all of those things because the people said so. The people are not in your bank account. The people are not like checking for you like that other than what you post on social media. And I think there's a point where if you can afford it and if that's genuinely what your heart desires, then by all means be my guest, go for it. But if you're having to do it and get credit card after credit card, and you're actually in financial trouble because you're trying to keep up with the Joneses or some appearance of fake wealth, at the end of the day, to what end, to what purpose? Like, it doesn't do anyone any good to have wealth that is not really there, or to have a standard of living that they are crippling themselves financially because of. It doesn't make
Other
sense.
people.
Yeah.
So, Michael, the question I'm going to direct to you. Would you say social media does a lot of harm than good when it comes to accountability? Because you're the technical. I should have asked you that because you're also into the whole,
Social media.
YouTube and everything. So, but let me ask the IT person. Let's hear what you've got to say.
From an IT point of view, social media is one of the greatest gifts from an IT point of view. From a privacy point of view, social media is one of the biggest poison that exists. And it still comes down to, you just have to be intelligent.
That's it.
If you're stupid, then social media will be stupid for you. But if you're intelligent, then you always use it to the maximum.
Yeah, that's it.
You always use it to the maximum. Like, the way I use social media is 100% totally different from the way you use it.
How do you know I don't use it the way you use it?
I
No,
think everybody
I'm
uses
not
it
saying
slightly
no.
differently.
I mean, I don't mean it like my own is the best.
No,
I mean,
no.
no,
Yeah,
I mean,
even if yours is the worst, what makes
the
you
way
think I don't do it that way?
it's because it comes down to how you've been trained, how the lessons you've learnt from it.
Yeah.
We've learnt different things. We can't all have learnt the same thing.
Yeah.
But the main goal is, if you follow social I used to say something, and it's true, to be honest. To me, social media is actually fake life.
It's somebody's highlight reel. Somebody is not 100% happy
Because-
100% of the time.
Because even me, myself, I don't put the negative stuff. It's just the good ones. So,
Is WhatsApp social media?
yeah.
Well, they have stories now, so I guess it counts.
No,
See, if it's WhatsApp, I put the sad bit, man. As in, and why it upsets me is the fact that is one bit where people feel the need for me to be accountable to them as to what is going on.
yeah.
But the thing
I
is,
put up something and someone goes, "Oh, Chidima, you shouldn't put that up." Really, dude? Really? Girl,
I think-
really?
It's all down to trying to make sure you don't.
And if you don't put something like that up, they're gonna be like, she's,
people will say, whatever you put up, whatever you don't put up, people will
Would
always
forever say
talk.
something.
Yes.
People, if you jump, why did she jump? If you don't jump, why didn't she jump? If you're happy, why is she always happy? If you put up one cryptic remark now, oh my gosh, who is this about though? Now go and find your other half. Say, she's talking about you on social media. No, she's not. Like, it was just a general life observation.
But the
Like,
thing is,
do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's...
I always try to make sure I don't put other people in trouble
Yeah.
with
yeah.
what I put. Like, there was this one time I put something very wrong, and it took me time to. Okay, it was something about there was this drama. I didn't believe it coming from a IT point of view. It's bullshit. And I think I should say it here. It was a video of a pastor who was preaching or something, and then we started seeing spirits, like,
you were seeing the spirit.
this holographic spirit.
Wow.
And I was disappointed because, number one, I know that is AR. That is augmented reality. That is PC drawing that stuff for people to see. And then
But he's
I
not.
put it online, and then I was in a very awkward way, I was attacking the church.
Yeah.
And then it took me talking to people and myself, because I thought about it. No, this can't be. And then I spoke to someone, and then I got more light. It wasn't about putting it to make joke about them. It wasn't about, because I was angry when I saw it, because that is,
They were making the jest of your works.
yeah,
And of
stuff.
God as well.
Yeah, but the thing is, why it was wrong to put it is because I was actually giving people from other religion something to say.
Wrong, something negative,
Negative
to say.
to say, and it took me time, but I realized, oh no, if that is the way, then it's wrong. So we always have to be intelligent with what we put. We may see something that to us is wrong. We shouldn't because this is wrong, bash it. We should be careful of people that actually see it.
And the wider implications.
Yeah, and think of the implications also.
Before I kind of expand on that, because I did read something with regards to that, I'd let our social media, you're the social media back, you're like the back office social media kind of person. You know what's happening on the
algorithm.
What's that? Yeah, that's what you know. So these are the ones that are in front of the
front
camera. So it's more like you're the cameraman and she's the one in front of the camera. So social media, tell us, what do you think? Do you think that, whatever you put up there, you as a person, you should be accountable to others?
I think yes is the short answer, purely because there are people who are watching you who may not be able to filter out what is reality and what is not. And I think solely for that reason. In terms of from a viewer's perspective, like for me as a person, I'm very much someone I can scroll through Instagram and not feel like I must have the latest designer of everything, because I don't know, I thank God I've never really been someone that is that bothered about it. If I receive it or I have it, it is what it is, I've got it now. But I've never been one that's felt the pressure to go and buy designer this, designer that. For as long as I look good in what I have, I'm fine. Obviously, there are people who feel that pressure. There are people who feel like they must keep up with the Joneses, the Harrisons, the Freds, the Fredericks, and like they feel like they have to keep up with absolutely everyone and be on par with absolutely everyone. But what everybody is not showing you is the fact that they're still paying for the trainers that they bought 5 years ago. And even if they're not, if you're not in a position to have that training, it's not by force,
In that.
The reason why you see it like that is because you have an understanding.
But even before
and that's the thing. I've always wondered about, why do people not see that or get that? Because for me, it's just like, oh, it's social media. That's their life. That's them. It's because you have an understanding. I'm telling you, like some people are stupid.
This is true.
No.
I think,
and if you say stupid, it makes it sound very harsh.
There was
There's something that I learned.
Okay, the word that I won't like is not for. It's more like ignorance.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, people know the truth that I can't afford this, but they are ignorant to the fact that they can't afford it.
I will call it, because last week I was learning something in a Bible class, and there's so many forms of illiteracy, and I'd call that social illiteracy.
100%.
Yeah, so there's biblical illiteracy and there's social illiteracy. So I'll call that social illiteracy. Now, because a lot of the celebrities feel that they are accountable to us for, that's standard of living. Do you think they're also accountable to us for things? Okay, let's use this person as an example. Ubi Franklin. I don't know if you know him. He's a Nigerian celebrity. Do you know him? He's got what's this guy's name? Iyaya. Now he's the founder of Made Men Group. Which was Iyaya's group, and now there's so much. Oh, you go to church. You are always putting up this particular church, videos and quotes, and you going to church and everything. But now you've got kids from 4 different women. Is he accountable to us?
Wait, first of all, Kanye West is always going to church on Sunday, we know, right?
No, I thought he was the church.
He was the church, He's
the church.
choir,
He's the minister.
He's everything.
Okay,
he's all of this.
Is this particular person accountable to us when it comes to those negative things?
I think, if you've been putting out a certain lifestyle and you've been putting out this certain front, and then all of a sudden you do something happens that makes it very apparent that you
feel there's the need for him to explain to us.
No.
I don't know about explaining, but I think basic acknowledgement.
In a way, he explains with what he does after and after and after.
I don't like this guy.
No, let me explain what I mean.
You're just very technical. No, I understand you. Over time, he tends to post things and do things that are more like justifying what he does, or making excuses for or explaining himself.
Yeah, because one, you can't judge anybody for their past.
Yeah.
And truly, if they come truly to the light,
Mm.
that is a blessing to them.
But-
It takes a while. Even if old things become passed away today, it takes a while for you to grow properly in the new. So if you judge by today, you shouldn't even judge.
Yeah.
But you have to watch and study that, no, this guy, this person can be a true role model. It can be a true testimony. By his life, you can see a proper testimony. That's why I said you wait and you watch. Because if you use him as a reference and tomorrow it goes back, not that he didn't become clean, but because, maybe he backslid or something, people are going to say, see your guy and stuff like that. So it's expected that you wait for him to grow. You don't use someone that just became new to the light as reference. You wait for them to mature.
But so in a situation whereby, let's say it's the other way around, let's say like this person has been a Christian and is, whenever you see them up until yesterday and up until tomorrow, you still see them living this Christian life. But let's say like you now are seeing that they are also in the family way, like with child, or that you find out that they are also doing other things that are like contrary, for example, like inhaling certain plants and things like that. And let's say they hold a particular position, which means that they are in relative forms of limelight, whether it be within the church or on a wider scale. What then? Because for me, at that point, it would be like, for me personally, I wouldn't necessarily be bothered by it in the sense that it doesn't affect my walk with God, because I'm already at a point where I know where I am and I know where I'm going. So it wouldn't affect me. But for the people that it would affect, who are not quite there yet, and these people are looking up to said person, and said person is living literally a duplicit, like a double life essentially. What then would you say that there's no explanation owed, or there's no accountability owed, or what happens in that scenario?
I want to use someone as an example. I shouldn't use this person as an example. I'm sorry, it's what is happening now.
Yes.
R. Kelly. R. Kelly started with gospel. When I was young,
They all
it
started
was
with
all
gospel.
gospel and stuff.
They all
And then
started gospel.
it went completely south. What makes us as Christians pull ourselves out of that type of model is your fellowship with other people as the church now. I remember what made me realize, look, R. Kelly is someone else, it was a gathering, and then there was this argument, and someone said, R. Kelly this, R. Kelly that, and then they were trying to point out the wrongs and the right. And then I'm like, we shouldn't judge this guy. And then someone was like, he's already living two-faced life. That's not before this saga. That's like way like
background.
close to 9-10 years or so.
That's very recent.
So I remember, and the guy was like, because he lives this two-way life, you can't use him as a model for your life.
Yeah.
And I held that. And then I remember then I was much younger. I used to say, does this person have to this and that? And then by yesterday I mean when the situation happened, I'm like, look at what we were saying like 10 years ago. Like
It's happening.
It's all
now.
out
happening.
It's
So
happening now.
you really if you model your life in someone, and if the person is a model to you, you will always follow the person. Like, not in the sense of idolizing the person, but in the sense of you can use the person as an example or a point of contact for your own self and put what is right and what is wrong. But the moment you see this person start becoming two-faced, and by two-faced, pretender, fake, this and that, you really need to start drawing away from the person.
100%.
You should, because you also end up being two-faced. And
You wouldn't see anything wrong with it you're doing. I honestly, I wish we could go on, but the good thing about it is we've learned a lot of things here today. I've learned reason why I can't be the only one on this show is because I need people that I personally can learn from and you guys can learn from. Thank you to all those who viewed. But there's one thing that both of them pointed out. They may not have used this exact words, but I read that up as well. And it is Christian accountability. Now, Michael posted something online or on his WhatsApp or somewhere, and he found out that what he posted was not, he wasn't being accountable as a Christian, to the Christian community as a whole. So it was more like painting a bad image of, Christians. So he needed to be accountable to the Christian community. And she's, also made that point of view that, look, if you're living this life, you need to let us see you for who you are. If you're I'm pretty sure at different points of views, when we're talking about Chisom, we're very sorry for plagiarizing you. Yeah, we've used you so much here. But we using the Chisom story, Chisom is, the youth president, and she has to have that Christian accountability. She's accountable to the youth, in that form. So, and we've learned about social illiteracy, not in those words, but basically not having stupid people, in Michael's words, stupid, but to be nice, in as much as I was coming from the negative point of view, to be nice is social illiteracy. So we need to understand that, first of all, we need to put personal accountability first. That is priority. What makes you happy? Peace of mind. I love that. As long as you have that peace of mind with yourself and with God, then every other person would be accountable. Yes, the people that you should be accountable to would fall in place, basically, long and short of it all. So, but we would like to... Somi said something when we're talking about social media. He said one buzzword on social media now is influencers. Only God knows where this is taking our generation to. I do not want to know right now the truth, because I already know where it is with this generation. I'm looking at the generations to come. When Praise has her daughter and Michael has his son, I'm trying to imagine what they'll be using then. Maybe they'll be looking into, space and...
this goggles.
There's this,
reality.
there's actually
that's today already.
Not even virtual reality. There's something that I saw, like a pair of glasses, not virtual, pair of glasses that you can actually use to make phone calls.
Yeah, that's kind of today.
Is that working already?
Yeah, they are mostly prototyped.
Yeah, so we never know.
What we have for the future is things that will be a part of your body.
I don't like the fact that he's saying what we.
Oh, sorry.
So now just be like, okay, sorry, I need you to get my arm. Sorry, hello.
Yeah,
That's
stuff like that.
I cannot even imagine, my kids turning to me and saying, "Mommy, I want to use glasses."
Sorry, my arm. Sorry.
Do you know what I'm going through with the migraines and everything just because I have to use glasses, and you want to wear it because you want to make a call? So imagine the glasses coming this way and it's going into your ear because you're taking
in the future, even our shoes will clean themselves.
Amen. I don't mind that one, to be honest.
No.
They will, actually.
No. I'll be walking on the road, my shoe will now start cleaning itself because water has touched it.
Yeah, and your shoes should be able to change colors.
Nanotechnology.
Okay, that's another discussion for another time. Technological advancement and the future. I would like to bring this IT guru in, and a couple of people, this influencer that is in front of social media, what those social media things will do to them. But thank you so very much, everyone, for tuning in, and we do really, really appreciate your time. We've taken a bit of your time, but thank you so very much. Tune in next week with our Dare to Ask, but also remember we've got the prayer with Pastor Kolawole on Tuesdays from 6 to 7. So basically before the Dare to Ask show, we have the prayer with Pastor Kolawole, and we also have our Sunday show, Sunday service. It starts by 10:15, basically. 10:15 is the Sunday school up until 11, and 11 is the main service. You do not want to miss this. We have a very amazing choir. We have amazing departments here. So come in, experience the word with us, and experience the presence of God with us. It is still myself, Chidima, and I've got Praise and Michael, amazing people. You will see them some other time. Thank you, and do have a lovely week.